Welcome to this segment on bilingual and bicultural books at the Chappaqua Book Festival. I'm Cynthia Weill. I'm here with 5 of the most wonderful bilingual bicultural authors in the world. They're going to tell you about their books, and we're going to start with John Parra.
Well, it's a privilege to be here today, and I'm sharing my book, Spanish is the Language of My Family, written by Michael Genhart. This is my newly illustrated book, so I did all the artwork for it. And it's about a little boy named Manolo who signs up at his school to be in a part of a Spanish spelling bee. And because he has to study and practice learning how to spell the words in Spanish, he gets help from his grandmother. And his grandmother then tells the story that when she was young, she was forbidden from speaking Spanish in school and made to feel ashamed. So to the little boy now, Manolo, he feels like this is his chance now to bring that back and sort of redeem that sort of language. And he studies even harder and practices harder so he can do well at the Spanish spelling bee.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I love your artwork. It's really beautiful. Who are your artistic influences?
Well, I have a lot of Latin artists as my personal favorites: Frida Kahlo, Diego Rivera, Orozco, and things like that. But also a lot of children's book artists. Eric is. I'm a big fan of his work, as well as other, especially Hispanic. I think like Rafael Lopez, Morales, things like this. People like those are just my inspirations as well for contemporaries.
Wonderful. Do you have a particular favorite illustration?
I do, actually. It's Manolo when he's climbing this mountain, and in the back of the mountain you see it says Práctico, because he's practicing his words in Spanish. And I just love the sort of passion and intensity and intention that he has, that he is now on a mission to win at his Spanish spelling bee.
It's a beautiful book. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Jackie, tell us about your book.
Hello, hi. I'm happy to be here too at Chappaqua. Empanadas for Everyone is a book about a little girl who loves every Saturday to cook empanadas with her tia Mimi. But on this Saturday, tia Mimi has to go work at the meal center, and she has to make them on her own. And as she's going through her the town, she discovers how through food that there are connections through food, that there is a form of an empanada in so many different cultures.
I love that title, Empanadas Are for Everyone, and you just said there's a form of empanada in every culture. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So the title, I love that, Empanadas to Everyone. I mean, right away you get hungry. I get hungry. It's Empanadas for Everyone is kind of like saying, come on in, the food is fine. It's saying through food we can create connections. Through food we can create community. Think about it. You take modest, simple ingredients like salt, water, and flour, and a filling, and all of a sudden you have samosas, and you have pierogies, and you have calzones and mandu. And it reminds me so much, which is stories inspired by my cooking with my grandmother. And I grew up in Queens, Flushing, and shopping with her and discovering that, oh my gosh, Empanadas has cousins like us. We are all connected through food. We are all connected through food, making community. So
I think it's a most wonderful concept. It's a beautiful idea to bring to a book. Congratulations. And Maria.
Hi, yeah, I'm very happy to be here too. Maria José Fitzgerald, and my book is Turtles of the Midnight Moon, which is an eco-mystery set in Honduras, which is where I grew up, and it follows 2 12-year-old girls, Barana and Abby, who have to learn to work together to figure out who's been poaching the sea turtle eggs on their beach. And while it is a fast-paced mystery about conservation, I think at its heart, it's kind of like your book. It's about connection and community and how we're all interconnected, and also forgiveness. And so, yeah, I love sea turtles. I love conservation. I grew up in Honduras, and that's my story.
It's a wonderful story. Could you tell us a little bit more about how your childhood in Honduras influenced the book?
So Well, first of all, there's a lot of Spanish in the book, and so that's my native language is Spanish. So while there's poetry in the story and it's in prose, I wove in a lot of Spanish words. So that's one way. Another way is there's a lot of food in it as well. Baleadas, ceviche, things that I grew up eating. And of course, my passion for the environment and for conservation. So I grew up with a family that was very aware of some of the environmental issues that we have in countries like Honduras in the developing world. And my parents were always very, they influenced me a lot in how I value the environment and wildlife. We grew up doing a lot of outdoor work and also just going outdoors for fun, snorkeling, hiking a lot, and even doing conservation as a family. So my parents live in the mountainous region, so like on the outskirts of a cloud forest. So I always appreciated the wildlife back home. My grandmother was from the coast. We used to go every year and spend time on the beach. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, it's a wonderful inspirational book for children. Congratulations. Debbi.
Hi, I'm also very happy to be here and very honored to be on this panel. This book is the 5th book in the Jasmine Toguchi chapter book series, Brave Explorer. And 3rd grader Jasmine Toguchi is going to Japan for the very first time with her family on summer vacation. And she's super excited to have a great adventure. First stop, Tokyo.
It's a great read. Can you tell us how something that happened in Japan when you were a child inspired the book?
Well, okay, so spoiler alert, like I said, Jasmine's super excited and she's never been to Japan before. On the first day of Tokyo, they hop on a subway to go to their first stop of sightseeing. And Jasmine's super excited. She's talking to her sister, asking questions of her parents, going on, and she looks around and she realizes she's the only one talking. And she finds out that it is considered bad manners in Japan to talk loudly on a train or on subway. Well, when I was an adult, I was in Tokyo visiting my aunt and I was very excited and I was talking away at her about where we were going to do and what we were going to see, and I noticed from her face she was very uncomfortable. And I looked around and realized I was the only one talking, and I remembered that it is bad manners to talk out loud on the train. So I took that experience and gave it to Jasmine. And in fact, a lot of my childhood experiences visiting Japan are woven into the new quartet of the Jasmine Toguchi series.
That is a fascinating cultural tidbit, and one thing I really loved about that book was the interplay between the big sister and the little sister. I'm sure it will hit a nerve with many families. Congratulations. And Eric.
Hi, I'm also honored to be here at the Chappaqua Book Festival, and today I'm going to be talking about PULPO GUISADO, which is the Spanish version of my book, Octopus Stew. And the story is about Ramsey, who is a boy who loves to draw, and the day his grandmother decides that she's going to make PULPO GUISADO, octopus stew. The only problem is that while she's cooking the octopus, it begins to grow to enormous proportions, and it even takes control of the kitchen and takes grandma hostage. And Ramsey has to figure out how he's going to rescue his grandma from this octopus. So my favorite scene in the book, after grandma is taken hostage by the octopus, he's got to figure out how to rescue her. And my favorite scene is the spoiler alert, when it's revealed in the gatefold that the story is a story that Ramsey is telling his family during the gathering. And one of the reasons why I wanted to create this book is because I remember the time when my family used to get together and we used to share stories, and those that like to dance would dance and others would play instruments. And I'm not seeing enough of that in my own family when we gather. So I guess it's me being nostalgic for an old time of when we used to just share stories, because that's how stories are handed down from generation to generation.
That's lovely. I know you like to use your family members as models in the book. Is there anyone in there?
Well, so most of my work is like very, let's say, photorealistic. But in this one, I made up all the characters. But the character of Grandma is very closely modeled after my wife, Elizabeth. So she pretty much looks just like Grandma in the book.
I'm sure she loves that picture. Anyway, thank you all so very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. And let's all wave goodbye to KidLit TV and say thank you.